Hi, how are you? My name is Alejandra Alemán, and I'm going to talk about the lesson plan number 5. For this class, the topic that I selected is passive voice. This class has been designed for students of second year of senior high school, and the duration of this class is 45 minutes. Um, In the objectives of the class, we have um, objectives created to develop the skills of the students, the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So, in the objectives to the listening, the students will be able to follow instructions, and also the students will be able to identify and recognize passive voice sentence. In speaking, the students will be able to correctly pronounce all the words that we're gonna use during the class, and also the students will be able to talk about all traditions using passive voice structures. In reading, the students will be able to identify new words and recognize in which context the passive voice is used. And writing, the students will be able to construct sentences in passive voice. The methodology and strategy that I used in this lesson plan is direct methodology, direct method, communicative language teaching, and audiolingual method. The strategies, we have multimedia presentation, read aloud class, whole class work, and individual work. Um, As anticipatory said, I will start the class with a presentation where the students will be able to observe an article called Keeping Traditions Alive. This test will talk about some festivities that are celebrated in other countries. In that reading, I will highlight the passive voice sentences so that the student understand the structure that we will study. As main teaching input, uh, we have a warm-up activity. I will mention some of the festivities of our country, such as All Souls Day or the end of the year, and I will ask the students what tradition we Ecuadorians have to when celebrating these festivities, for which they must respond in a passive voice. For example, at the end of the year, the the streets are decorated with puppets. That's a structure of passive voice. Also, I will show the students from the structure to form sentences in the passive voice, and I will do some examples. I will share also the I will share with the students a quiz. Um, I will request the participation of the whole class. In this activity, students have to select the correct answer and solve the quiz. They have to complete some sentences using the correct form of the verbs that will be in parentheses. During the activities, I will assist and clarify the doubt of the students. Also, we practice the correct pronunciation of the vocabulary that we will use during the class. I will conclude the class by asking the students if the topic is clear, and I will proceed to carry out a couple of examples to strengthen what I have learned. In the modeling step, the activities, uh, the exercise examples used during the class are clear models to introduce a student to the structure of passive voice sentences and their use in context. As guided practice, a student must participate to solve the quiz by completing the sentences with the correct form of the verb to form sentences in the passive voice. I will have the students when they have doubts, and at the end, together we the whole class we will review the answers. As independent practice, the student must perform the activity that is in their books, where they must transform a paragraph that is in active voice to passive voice. As assessment, I I will assess the student's learning. I will ask questions throughout the class, mentioning some sentences in active voice and randomly asking the students to turn into a passive voice. And closing review and follow up, I will conclude the class by asking the student if the topic is clear. I will proceed to mention a couple more examples. And for homework, the students must write about a familiar tradition, describing, for example, the activities carried out, the people involved, the food prepared, or the clothes used to celebrate. Of course, making use of passive voice sentence. So I'm gonna share the different materials that I've created for this class. Give me 1 second. So here uh, you can see the presentation of the structure um, for this is in sentences with passive voice. Also, we have the one up activity. So here I'm gonna talk about is some traditions of the Ecuadorians in these festivities. Also, I have created a quiz. Here, the students uh, have to complete the sentence For example, the first sentence, the conflict between the colonies and Great Britain. They have to select. They have to select the correct answer that was finished on July 4th, 1778. And here you can see the all quiz that they have to solve. So that's all. Thank you.